before I even get started, I just want to say, you know, no disrespect, no hate to Swagg or any Call of Duty streamers, Battlefield streamers. I'm not in the business of trying to start beef or anything like that. Maybe my title might be a little more egregious than it needs to be. Guess what? It's YouTube. People are going to clickbait. I don't personally hate any creator. I don't hate anybody to begin with, right? So just laying that out here. I know people are not going to finish the entire video. They're just going to click on the video and then immediately drop in the comments, dude, this guy hates Swagg. What's wrong with you? And like, okay, I'm just saying right here, I don't hate him. Okay. Let's get into it. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back. As you guys know, I don't really do this kind of video where I talk about people. I try not to. Obviously, the views are going to probably be better on this kind of video than if I just talked about regular stuff about the game or gaming industry. But yeah, I do want to give my 2 cents and throw my hat in the ring here. Obviously, this kind of video is going to get some views, but also I think it warrants a lot of attention because basically the critique right now is that Call of Duty streamers are ruining games like Battlefield 6. They're ruining games like Call of Duty. And I want to give my 2 cents on it. Again, like I said in the beginning, I don't hate any particular creator or anything like that. I think there are some people who are shadier than others. I think there's some people who are lying or some people who are maybe not saying their exact feelings for a paycheck or some form of compensation. Yes, I think that's a real thing. That does not mean I think they deserve death threats. That does not mean that nobody should, go watch their channel or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. And if you want to be like a bought and paid for person, then that's on you. You know what I mean? Like maybe eventually down the line, that might happen to me or you, so I'm not here to like cast judgment or anything like that. I'm just in this just to give my 2 cents. Like I said, I'm going to play some clips here from Swagg. And I just wanted you guys to like really listen in on essentially what he's saying. The main like thing here in this particular video is that he's saying that essentially Rebirth Island should be the only thing. He says that most people are just enjoying Rebirth Island and other small like Rebirth maps should not really be a thing. And, basically he lays out what he thinks is the key to Warzone success. So go ahead and play the clip here.
Yep.
Like a little town.
Apparently this map has been in development for ages. First of all, I'm gonna give my opinions and I want to hear what your take is. I personally think they need to just stop fighting the Rebirth. Just like they keep fighting it. The community doesn't want anything else, right? And they just keep trying with resurgence maps. Area 99, not successful. They gave everything they had, and it was kind of the same thing as last year. No new big map, and they just dropped Area 99 as a resurgence map for the launch of the integration. It did horrible. People didn't like it. They went back to Rebirth Island immediately. In this instance, I think the best way they can do it is maybe do a Japan-themed Rebirth Island, which would be dope. They're kind of already on par with that as far as Express Raid and Standoff, or sorry, Express Raid and another Black Ops 2 map. And they should just bring Avalon, do a Japan themed Rebirth and bring Avalon as a new big map. I think them doing this right now is setting up Warzone to be a complete failure for the integration. What do you think?
I'm fine with everyone's opinion. He has an opinion. I have an opinion. I don't even necessarily think he's wrong. I think that Rebirth Island is easily the most popular Rebirth map and Resurgence map. I just don't agree in terms of just because it's the most popular doesn't mean they should just stop trying over and over again. It's literally to me like saying if, Nuketown or Firing Range is like the best multiplayer map, then every single Black Ops game, why develop a new map, right? Just put in like the exact same maps every single year in and year out. I think you guys can easily see what the problem here is. You're never going to get anything new. Like, sure, you're going to have some nice times and nostalgic moments. I think that's why it's fun when they bring back certain remaster maps to multiplayer Call of Duty. But if they did that every single time and only remastered maps, you're easily going to find the flaw of, hey, I'm bored, Oh, and I have nothing to look forward to. Yesterday we had, or not yesterday, but like last year we had a Black Ops game. We had Nuketown. Every single time I booted up, guess what? This game, I'm playing Black Ops again. And guess what? I'm only playing Nuketown again. I'm only playing Summit and Slums again. And it really sounds good on paper. It even sounds good. Like, oh yeah, Rebirth Island again and again. But guess what? People need to be challenged creatively. Developers, people who are working on the game, artists, like they need to be challenged. I know he said things like I think Ashika sometimes and bring Avalon as like the main map, things like that. This is just his opinion. And I think it's it's fine if you want to give your opinion, but when you, as Swagg or TimtheTatMan or Nick Merckx, when you're that big and you have that close of a direct line, and you know that developers and community managers from Call of Duty and other games are, watching and listening to your takes, it's a little like maybe you should be a little more careful instead of just like completely saying what you want, and maybe, try to take a stab at like what the community wants. Now, just to preface, I haven't played Warzone or Rebirth in quite a while. I'm not going to kid you guys. It's probably been like 3 to 4 years since I played Rebirth or Warzone. And it's kind of for good reason, because it's the same game. And when they try to bring in new things, kind of like Swagg says, it doesn't turn out very good. A lot of the maps that they bring in are not that good. Vondel and Area 99 and things like that, they just were not fun. They were not interesting enough. I don't think that means just play Rebirth Island because they can't make a new map. Like, if that was the case for multiplayer, we never would have gotten anything good after Black Ops 2. And to be quite fair, we don't have a ton of good multiplayer maps, but we have some stuff, right? We have like Shoot House, I'd say, is a good map. I can't think of many on the top of my head, but even Black Ops 6 has some like decent maps. Like, I don't know, I'd say Babylon's a decent map. I'd say Skyline's a good map, right? Like, if you just never give them the chance or never force them to make change, we're never going to get new stuff. And I don't know. I don't want to play the same game for 18 years. That's just me though, So that's where I'm at with that situation. I think if you're Swagg, if you're TimtheTatMan, if you're any of these big guys, you got to be a little more careful with what you say. It's not the same as if like me or other like small content creators just said like, hey, I like Nuketown, and so they should only bring Nuketown back for every Treyarch game. That like, that's fine. You're right. You know what I mean? Like, they're never going to listen to me. I'm not big enough for any large content creator or any director to hear what I have to say and be like, oh, okay, he plays this game a lot, maybe I'll listen to him. Like, there's no way, right? Again, if you're that big, it's kind of like that Spider-Man quote, when you have great power comes great responsibility. You have to use that power wisely. You can't just use it to get short-term gain for yourself and for your friends and then not think about the community at a whole, not a home, but as a whole. Once again, I don't want to disrespect or show that I'm like hating on him or anything like that. You're entitled to your opinion. I think that as a content creator, it's welcome. And I appreciate the honesty. To be fair, I don't think you're always honest. If you're watching this Swagg, if you're watching this TimtheTatMan, anything like that, I don't think you're always honest. I think that there are things that you've said in the past. I remember this TimtheTatMan clip where he literally says, I think Black Ops 6 is going to save Call of Duty or something like that. And then I'm pretty sure he proceeds to like not play the game for the year or something like that. And it's just like, you're obviously, getting paid for it. You gotta act a little bit. Do I think streamers as a whole are ruining video games, are ruining the franchise? Not entirely themselves, but they're definitely not helping. Some of them. I'm not going to say every large streamer is like hurting the game. No. I do think that some of them need to be a little more careful with their words. They need to be a little more careful about like how and what they say. Just because you like Rebirth Island does not mean that is what people should do. That is what the developers do. That does not mean every single person who plays Warzone likes that. A lot of people play Warzone because it's a battle royale, because there's one life and things like that. I'm not saying he's saying to take away, the Warzone mode or anything like that. But for people who are just sick of Rebirth Island, yeah, they're probably not going to be a huge fan of this if all of a sudden, all they're getting is Rebirth Island for the next 3 years and they have like Swagg to thank. Like, yeah, Swagg's going to be happy, but maybe a large portion of people are going to be pissed off. Now, just to preface, like I said, I don't play Warzone. And so I'm not going to come out here and be like, oh, a lot of people don't like Rebirth or a lot of people do like Rebirth. Like, I don't keep up with the Warzone community enough to give like a substantial opinion and to give an accurate opinion. So I'm not going to come out here and start bashing Swagg for a terrible take of that kind of nature. I do think, what he said is a little short-sighted. It's a little short-sighted, and, to post it on YouTube video where, people are going to watch it, people are going to clip it and, take it out of context even a little bit. I guess just be a little more careful. Again, it's your opinion, so I can't really like bash him for that. Just as long as you're giving your opinion, as long as it's like how you really feel and you think that it's going to better the game, not just yourself as a content creator. I think that's another huge complaint is that, when the game just listens to streamers streamers want a game a certain way. They like battle royales because it keeps people engaged, it keeps people watching for the entire time, and it's very action packed. And so obviously if you're catering to streamers, you know, not every single person in the world is a streamer, and not every single person in the world watches a streamer. And even the people who are watching streamers don't necessarily 100% agree with what the streamers are saying. So to take what streamers are saying as gospel, if you're a developer, it's not a great feeling for the casual player, for the player who just wants a certain thing, for, you know, that dad who comes home and they're like, hey, I got like an hour. I don't want to sweat on Warzone. Oh, my only option is Rebirth Island, where people are sweating and every gunfight is close quarters and, you know, in my face. Wow, I'm just not going to play the game anymore. And, you know, guess who they're going to have to thank for that? Oh, the developers thought because Swagg and TimtheTatMan and other people are saying, you know, this is all that matters, this is all that the COD fan base cares about. Guess what? They're going to only include that. They're only going to care about what, quote unquote, the streamers are saying. I think I've reiterated my point enough in this video. Again, no hate, no shade, no disrespect, just my voice, just my opinion on essentially what's been going on. So yeah, that's it. Back to regular COD videos. I don't want to promise tomorrow, but pretty soon, you know, back to COD videos decently soon. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Appreciate all the support. And yeah, leave a comment down below if you think, you know, what your opinions are on streamers in the world of Call of Duty. How are they helping or hurting the game? And maybe I'll talk about this for Battlefield soon too. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, and like the video. Peace.